So you're thinking about moving to Ottawa, and whether that's to escape Toronto prices or maybe just to enjoy a nice family-friendly city, there's a lot of things online that are both true and false, and maybe you're left with a lot of questions. Like, where should I live? Where are the affordable places in town? What neighborhoods are going to actually line up with the lifestyle that I want to live? So today I'm going to go back over the past 3 years of doing YouTube, hear about living in Ottawa, and answer the top questions that you guys asked me, and answer all of those in one video to kind of create the ultimate guide to moving to Ottawa. Stay tuned. I'm Henrick Mathieu, realtor and founder of the Mathieu Group, where we help dozens of families buy, sell, and relocate to Ottawa every year. So let's start with the question that I get asked the most: where should I live in Ottawa? Unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all type of answer here. Even if Ottawa is relatively small, it also offers a wide array of lifestyles. So the real question is, what is your lifestyle? Are you more about an urban setting, walking distance of most places, like going to the market, going for a coffee, etc.? Then places like, the Glebe, Intonburg, Westboro, and such neighborhoods are definitely for you. However, if you're more into a rural setting and having more space for yourself, peace and quiet, nature nearby, then Carleton Place, Rockland, Amber and Russell would be a better fit. And if you're like me and you prefer somewhere in the middle, then suburban neighborhoods like Canada, Stittsville, Barrhaven, and Orleans is where you need to look. Obviously, the budget you're working with is also a big factor when deciding where to move. The closer you get to downtown, the more you pay for the location of the home instead of the home itself. So for the same price, you could get a much bigger / newer home, let's say in Amber, as to what you could get in Westboro for the same money, for example. And talking about price is actually a good segue into the second question I get asked the most: where are the affordable homes? To better illustrate the point I'm trying to make, I took 5 popular neighborhoods and looked at the number of home for sales that they have below that price point. Just by looking at the numbers, you can already see a few trends, right? By looking at the size of the areas versus their number of homes available, you can already tell that out east, prices tend to be lower. And I can tell you from experience that Canada, Stittsville tend to be slightly more expensive simply because there's more demand for the West End. But if you're willing to go on the outskirts, that's really where you can get a better bang for your buck. I'll give you an example. AQ Home sells home all over the city, but if you buy in Amber and Russell, as opposed to, let's say, Province and Orleans, you can save up to $200,000 on certain models. So those are really big savings, but you do have to accept that you're gonna be a little remote. So what does that mean if you want to live, somewhere else than those 5? Does it mean that you're doomed? No, but it means that you might need to readjust your expectations just a little bit. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's all about finding the best fit for you and your family. Now, on the flip side, if you're looking for luxury and money is not really a concern for you, you'll love neighborhoods like Marchwood Lakeside in Canada, Manatic Greeley down south, Manor Park, Westboro, and if you have money with a capital M, Rockcliffe Park is the most exclusive community in the city. That's where you need to be looking at. And for first-time home buyers with a tight budget, if it was me, I would look into 3-story townhomes, which have a decent price point, good space, newer, and all around a good pick. And I would definitely, once again, take a good hard look at condos. Great options all across the city in a more balanced market, and definitely a good way into real estate. But I know that there's definitely a lot of misconception, around condos, so I made a video about their pros and cons on my channel that I'll link at the end of this. Key takeaway here is that there's many diverse housing options in Ottawa, and there's definitely something for everyone. Next question: should I buy new or resale? Listen, I actually have a lot of people reaching out to me for new builds because, they saw my home tours, and when I walk them through the process and costs associated to this, a lot of times they end up buying a resale. But don't get me wrong, new builds are amazing if you're planning to stay there for a long time. When you buy new, you go through the building period, multiple appointments and inspection, and the price is always higher than finding a similar product in the resale side. To be fair, it is a super exciting experience to build your perfect home, but to go through all that process, let's say for a townhome, when your plan is to get a detached in a few years later, doesn't make much sense. Plus, there's a lot of 2019, let's say 2024 options and model available in the resale side that are just like new, but I will get you better value for your money without all the troubles. You also need to consider location. New builds are built where there's space, and that space is usually in the suburbs. So if you want something new in the city, it's likely gonna be an infill, and the price point for those is usually much higher. But that being said, new builds are a sure value, and as long as you do your inspection, There's not gonna be any surprises or repairs to do, and you are the first one to live in there, and there's something special about that for sure. Another thing I get asked quite often that seems to be on people's mind is Ottawa safe? The answer to this is pretty simple. Ottawa is a very safe city. But like any major cities, there's some areas that are less desirable and less family friendly. To me, two neighborhoods kind of pop into mind when I think about that. That would be Vanier, especially anything around Montreal Road and anywhere around Barwood's Market. Now, if you live there, I don't mean to offend you, but for those who are looking to move in Ottawa, especially with kids, I would try to avoid those areas. And it's not like, your life is in danger or anything, but there's been a big increase in drug problems and homelessness, especially since COVID, and that's pretty unfortunate, but anywhere else around the city, you're good. So the next question is about employment. Of course, you'll need to work if you move here. So what are the job opportunities in Ottawa is also something I get asked pretty regularly. So no surprise here, government is the biggest employer in Ottawa because, we're the national capital after all. So definitely a lot of opportunities there. Government work is stable, safe, and usually pretty well paid with salaries ranging from 50 to 150K a year. So that's pretty cool. Now do keep in mind that some of those jobs will require you to be bilingual. Damn French people, am I right? Other opportunities lies in the massive tech park in Canada North, right? A lot of startups, high-paying IT jobs with the added benefit of more remote work, and that gives you more options when picking where to live. Construction is always looking for tradespeople. It's not easy work, but you can get in most trades without no qualification as an apprentice and work your way up to a very decent salary. And with the shortage of qualified people in the trades, I wouldn't be surprised to see salaries go up. Also worth mentioning that we have 2 Amazon warehouses in Ottawa, one in Barhaven by the 416 and one outside of Ottawa, out east by the 417. Lots of job there, and I don't see Amazon going anywhere anytime soon. And on a side note, the average salary in Ottawa is around 65K, which is about 18.5% above the national average. That's pretty cool. By the way, if you like this and you want to know more about all things Ottawa and stay current with the real estate market, you can start right now by subscribing to this channel for weekly content. All right, let's talk about transportation because that's something that's on a lot of people's mind. People reach out and ask, are there any walkable communities that I can live in? Well, if you look at how the city is laid out, you can already see how most areas are definitely car dependent. Anything outside the Greenbelt, you pretty much need a car. The bus system is not bad at all and feeds through the whole city, right? The LRT, however, isn't known to be super reliable, but they are currently investing billions of dollars into it to expand the system in all directions. They want to be able to reach the suburbs and make this more accessible to those newer communities. So hopefully they're also able to improve and become something that people can rely on to get them to work or simply move around the city with ease. We do have a good amount of bike trails, but that's only good for, half the year, obviously. And now back to walkability, there are some communities like Entenburg, the Glebe, Little Italy. These 3 come to mind real quick where you can actually move around pretty easily. Get to the coffee shop, little grocery, restaurant, etc. But for the most part, if not all of the new areas, you really need a car. Let's talk about the good schools versus the bad schools. Listen, so as a realtor, it's actually legal for me to say, hey, because you're from that background, you should go to that school. And if you're looking over here, you should go to this school. I can't do this, and I think it's the wrong steering. But people ask me anyway. So what I can tell you though is that we have a lot of public options and some great private options. If you're looking for preliminary, adult education, if you're looking for trade schools, we have all of that. We have language immersion in both French and English schools. We have 6 universities and colleges. Now that being said, all schools are not equal, and after visiting a few schools for my clients, some are somewhat overcrowded. But what is cool is that in almost every new communities, there are a big focus on building new schools faster to soak up that demand. So although it's not a perfect system, they are actively trying to get ahead of it to attract talent. So if you're listening to this and you're a teacher, please come to Ottawa. We need you. Now the last question, and something that's probably on your mind right now, is what is there to do in Ottawa? And that's no secret, that's some kind of a stigma here in Ottawa. And you've probably heard this before, Ottawa is boring. So I'll level with you, okay? Ottawa is definitely not Las Vegas, and I'll concede that the nightlife here is a little underwhelming, but Ottawa is not boring in any sense of the word. And I actually made a full video about this, so I'll keep this short here. But we have tons of restaurants, Winter Festival, Poutine Festival, Tulip Festival, so many festivals, professional hockey teams, museums, art galleries, family events, market, bike trails, and the Gatineau Park 15 minutes away, and plenty of places for you to get shit-faced if that's your thing. I would bet that if you did something brand new every single weekend without repeating, it would certainly take you years at this point. So Ottawa, great place to live, but you get out of it what you put into it. But now, the real question is, can you actually afford to live here? And the answer in the next video right here. Thank you for watching, guys. See you in the next one.